Lord have mercy, I want to see what the hell He has in store for me. I feel like a lot of my time today was wasted, but it was better than I needed to know that. Because, yet again, another situation where Carl was right. I don't like being right in this particular situation, but it's handled now. That's still not centered. Erg. Erg. Can you please bend in the right position? Fuck. Get on the fucking button. Lay flat. Thank you. Lay flat, damn you. There. That's right. Hello, struggler. You missed a time last night. Today is a double fisting kind of day. Oh, trust me. I don't think people would have been necessarily super entertained with what the fuck happened last night. If you are interested, you can just simply go look at the body, go look at what's there past 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 44 seconds. However, that's the best. Oh, fuck, I should find it. I'm just gonna let that chicken cook. Anyways, you do have some good news. You got a Steam Deck, trying once human. Whoa! I would suggest, if you're gonna try it, actually no, you wouldn't be able to do that because you'd have to be at level 20 to just access Dreamland. Don't commit yourself to a season too soon, too quickly. You'll want to wait a few days for Way of Winter. That is the next PvE campaign, or rather PvE season scenario, if I'm using the right terminology for that game. That will be the next one to have. I wore this shirt last night, didn't I? I need something else. Avert your eyes, Chuck! I would like to wear the black sheer today. And hopefully not wear it inside out. Ha, my man, titties! Okay. A little beside him. Come there. Okay. Alright. I had my window browser open, but I accidentally closed it, so I need to reassemble all the shit that I had. How are we doing today, people? Are we feeling good? I hope we're feeling good. Because I'm in a situation where my mental state is pretty much, I cannot believe, but I should believe, because of course it was. Not going to get into it. All you need to know is that I asked a question to a group of people last night. They lied to my face. Some would argue a lie of omission, but still lied to my face. And I'm very disappointed in the fact that they admitted to that, so. Let us dig in. Sing to the king. I don't have much to bring. When I'm doing anything at all. I believe today we will start with the Dragon Quest news. Take me a second to get my thread open. Okay. So, if we remember, when I was trying to pull up this topic, when I was trying to talk about this last time on the scene, I had mentioned that this window. I had mentioned that for some reason it became instantaneously hard to find the link to this interview, and the reason why is because the Dragon Quest organizers for Square-Enix tried to scrub the interview off the internet. They cited the reason as words being misinterpreted, thus changing the context of the interview, and it being taken out of context. Despite the fact that Yuji Horii out of his own mouth said, I hate this, I hate this, I hate Western imperialism, I hate Western imperialism. Regardless, I'm going to chat it up on the screen. Regardless, yes, it was scrubbed. They scrubbed it off the original site. Off the original thing. People have archives of it. The one that is currently on the screen comes from friend of the server and channel, Eldermark, Kita, who I've known for years. Having uploaded the entire 7-hour stream with it archived for the Internet Archived and then re-uploaded to Rumble. to keep the entire thing up, because they tried to purge the entire fucking thing. Because this was on TGS 2024 stream, where they were talking to Yubo and Masahito, and they tried to take the entire fucking thing down. The whole fucking thing. Originally, it was up, and then they took the whole fucking thing down. Maybe there's some mirrors that you could probably be able to find on English-speaking YouTube if you try really, really hard, but all of these links were on Japanese YouTube, and they fucking censored all of them. But, be it as it may, in their attempt to censor it, they pretty much confirmed that this grift that they tried to push was basically for nothing. Where the fuck is my link? I had it here. Or did I retweet it and I didn't actually post it? That's possible. Unless it's here on the second one. I might have to go scrolling down his page for a second. This is a possible chance that it was posted multiple times. Scrolling. So that'll probably take me a second. The news was more or less most of the time last week. It might take a while to get through it. But yeah, here we go. But here is another person stating exactly what I just showed you. The original Dragon Quest interview got deleted. Good thing I downloaded it. Here's the video along with 2 pictures of another version of the translation, with people using this as a way to share around the image. Pretty much every single version of it got scrubbed. And this basically was to confirm that they tried to do so, claiming it was mistranslated, therefore they should have been able to resist it. Fortunately, we don't have to trust for people like Kotaku and Action to do this. They did it already for us. So, yeah, Square-Enix is mad enough that they're trying to censor it off the internet. So, lawsuits is going to probably be the next step if they don't get what they want, if they don't give up on the situation. Very gay, very cringe. Which then leads us... My back itches so much. Which then leads us into this bullshit. And by this bullshit, Soulbunni, everyone's favorite transgender commentary creator, has returned from their sabbatical. And their hitter is a doozy. Boy, it is just pure dookie. Just pure dookie. Hi Dubs and Chris Raygun, raging bigots to self-serving rebrand. Picture. Mini player. Content warning: racism, transphobia, misogyny, and a whole lot of caucasity. My favorite! And that's why I grabbed 2 alcohols.
As you see in the title of the video, I'm coming in strong on this topic. As someone who was in high school during...
Not coming in stronger than your fucking makeup, girl. Jesus! Why do you have so much blush? Are we trying to cosplay Minnie Ripple right now? The Afro do be Afroing. They pass better than most people do.
During the 2015 to 2017 era of YouTube that was filled with anti-SJW, Gamergate, and anti-intellectual content. I can surely say...
Is it anti-intellectual when people are right and you cannot admit that they are right because doing so would have to reveal your hand as a grifter, so you instead deplatform them? Is that what that means? I guess that's what it means.
That this content impacted Gen Z and younger millennials, let alone their targeted harassment victims.
Are they targeted harassment if they become favored content creators that are preferred over the algorithm and then the rest of them get literally demonetized into the dumps? Where the majority of them have to struggle to get views on videos that for years have been successful in the hundreds and tens of thousands of views and or paid subscribers? Because they didn't go away. Shadowbanning them didn't make them stop existing. My back seems to be itching the moment I put on this shirt. Methinks the shirt might have dust mites. But it shouldn't because it was washed. I'm going to put rubbing alcohol on it. 1 second. There you go. Much better. Softening themselves to run away from the past. It's only to people like this not to forgive them is hilarious. I mean, on one hand, when they say anti-intellectual, they're trying to talk about those that were considered to be left the right wing. But ironically, this technically would also include June. This would include Shoonhead and anybody else that was able to come out of that sphere of influence with some level of popularity and success. Oh.
Making the internet even more unsafe. I was greatly impacted by this content, especially being the only black and trans person in Orange County, the Orange County suburbs being the reddest part of SoCal, which...
You live in California! You're safe.
Constantly alienated me, as I spent my entire life being the only black student in all my classrooms. The normalization...
Oh, I don't believe that you're the only black student in fucking California of all places. Maybe in that particular school of SoCal, but you're not the only black child. Because you look like you went to a private school.
Of racist and bigoted content has lasting effects. The further normalization of the N-word, thanks to iDubbbz.
Ian is not the reason why the N-word is popular. He is not the reason why the N-word is popular. We are the reason why the N-word is popular. Of course she's one of those! What do you expect?
And his peers. I and other black people being forced to bear people saying it's just a word as they purposely say it around us. The casual, disingenuous, anti-intellectual, and racist takes on Black Lives Matter made it harder to get progress made in the fight against police brutality. While black...
Are you sure it was that stopped the fight against police brutality? Or was it the fact that you had people that on one side of their mouth said, violence is bad, and then on the other side of their mouth said, I'm Antifa, I beat chuds in the head? I think it was the second one, sweetie. I think it was the second one. And then Kamala Harris and others pushing for those that committed the crimes under Antifa to be free of bail.
And brown lives were being lost, and queer people were fighting for visibility to expand our rights. These so-called edgelords made...
Say that again?
Progress made in the fight against police brutality. While black and brown lives were being lost, and...
One more time.
The N-word, thanks to iDubbbz and his peers. I and other black people being forced to bear people saying it's just a word as they purposely say it around us. The casual, disingenuous, anti-intellectual, and racist takes on Black Lives Matter made it harder to get progress made in the fight against police brutality. While black and brown lives were being lost, and queer people were fighting for visibility to expand our...
Fighting for visibility. Not fighting for our rights. fighting for visibility to do our rights. I need to be seen and get noticed for fighting for my civil rights. Rights that you already have. Because you live in California. And there are at least like several different laws on the books specifically made for you to castigate people under gay bashing. Let alone other shit. That has a lot of carbonation to it. And you're telling me that instead of just campaigning for your rights, that you have to campaign for the attention to campaign for your rights. Even then, and even still. Excuse me, I need to take this. Hello? Okay. Who the hell is calling me at this early time in the morning? Or rather, early lateness in the day. That's weird. 1 second, I'll be right back. Hey, let's check this one. That's for later. Okay. You have not missed much. Are you still preoccupied with work, or can I call you, whore?
Probably on stream, just so you know.
I'm not about that. Well, actually, no. No context for anybody else. But you see the shit that I be putting up with?
I could say some words, but I'm not going to.
And I called this shit. I called that shit. I called it 100% in the situation. I don't know if you clicked on it or not. Did you look at the video directly?
Yes, I did. I skipped through it. It was just stupidness.
All I wanted, if they just said, hey, yo, this is what Anyways. here's a question. Why the fuck is it every single time that we ever expect maybe some Californians have mindsets about them? Maybe they're not all bitches. Because granted, Soulbunni's relevance came about because of her getting on Shark 03 immediately after he got his shit pushed in by Foreign Man in a Foreign Land. Why the fuck is it that even removed from context, they just outright admit, yeah, I live in California, but I feel like I'm under attack for my rights. I had to listen to Orange County children say nigga. Oh, what was her chat? They can't be serious. It's not fucking possible. They can't be fucking serious. Either way. Here's the question. When a person tells you they're fighting for visibility to fight for their rights versus fighting for their rights, what do you imagine they mean when they say they're fighting for visibility? There's a good interpretation here, but I want to know what you think when you hear them say that.
I just tune it out completely. I don't take that anywhere seriously. One ear and out the other. Basically what it is.
I agree. Because the positive interpretation is that there is definitely an argument. Technically, any amount of work done in politics is always attention economy. Because when everything is political, everything is about pulling attention. So if you can't get people to care about your cause, you might as well not fucking talk about it. Argumentatively, there is a world where Soulbunni and her approach can be seen from a noble sense, assuming that what they're saying is true. Because I have no reason to disbelieve them. I would argue, wow, pick a struggle, but I have no reason to disbelieve them. The majority of what's happening right now with the culture war is more or less, you have to fight for attention for your particular issue. You have to fight to be heard. You have to fight to be able to get enough attention to convert that into motivation and momentum around your brand to be able to come up on the rise, because people can choose to make you a sensation overnight. All of this is the reason why most left-wing politics are even popular, because the majority of people who are doing them are using them as a way to float their careers, because they don't actually have to try hard to succeed, because their popular Twitch streamer friends will make them a waiting room streamer, and they don't have to do anything whatsoever, even though they suck at what they do. But when I listen and I hear Soulbunni say, I have to fight to have visibility for my rights, I honestly cannot imagine them being at a protest. Because with the amount of antagonism that I'm almost certain they get up to on the regular. And leftist streamers are already annoying enough, but this is a leftist video essayist that has taken, at least I can assume, like month breaks between their videos. Assuming that I'm not just distracted and not paying attention, because it's been months since they've been relevant. Technically, yeah, their last video that was not about something relevant was 7 months ago. And that was, stop asking black women if our hair is real. And then before that, the white leftist industrial complex was from a year ago. I would say for their channel size, this is a normal amount of views. Clearly the most popular video they have on their channel was the white leftist industrial complex, but this one, 11k views. Where are you going to protests? Where are you going to protests? Because supposedly, it's horrible for you to step outside. You're in danger of getting hate crimed. But you live in SoCal, Orange County? It's been a hot minute since I've lived in California. But my godfather lives in that area. He sells wine and liquor in that area. You are so far away from normal middle class, it's not fucking funny. Am I right or am I wrong? Did Hora disappear on me? No, she might actually just be preoccupied. Californians that are in the chat, you can confirm if I'm right or if I'm wrong. can't believe that's a sentence that came from her mouth. But you know what? All right. Let's take it out. Let's take Soulbunni at her word. Because it feels like a step beyond normal LARPing, if we're being serious. But you know what? Let's take Soulbunni at her word.
Writes, these so-called edgelords made millions of dollars punching down on marginalized people. This ultimately created what we know as the alt-right pipeline. You start off watching bigoted and racist comedy videos that would lead to even more outwardly right-wing content being recommended in the algorithm.
You might watch a video that has jokes in it, and then you might become predisposed to horrible, hateful content. Let's take a context of some of that horrible, hateful content. Dr. Randomer can. Are you ready, chat? You're about to see a case example of what some of that looks like. Let me go find Pig Punch's video. Let me go find Xander Hall's video. There we go.
How do you get your picture in?
Get ready for this shit, chat. You're about to see an example of what's going to lead to people wanting to become a member of the alt-right. Are you ready? This is a Dr. Rammerkamp video from 5 years ago about Xander Hall before he became Xander Hall. Are you ready? This right here is about to be what radicalized people. Are you prepared? I'm gonna play for you a snippet of it.
In the paper and gain no subscribers as a result. Dedication's what you need. Sick of me. Can you get a scratch on? my computer's loaded too slow. It's so
is dwarfed by the size of the reactionary right on YouTube.
So, the reactionary right on YouTube, or whatever you want to call it, is that dwarfed by anything else? Such as the mainstream media, wherein one can find exactly the same partisan talking points you will find on RedTube, yourself being no exception. You may be some kind of pygmy dwarf, but you're a pygmy dwarf standing on the shoulder of a fucking cyclops. And you will share in the embarrassment when you lose the fight. So, whichever dude was who fought Hercules, maybe. I don't know.
Why is the new left-wing section of YouTube having such a hard time gaining popularity than the right did back in 2014?
It's not at all. They're all liars and chancers and hacks who are directly influencing violent antifa mobs all over the world, but they are nevertheless getting hundreds of thousands of subscribers and countless fluff pieces written about them in the mainstream media. The very same mainstream media that writes countless hit pieces about those who criticize the sacred breadtube or any of its predecessors. And no matter how much power you have around you, you will always be able to hide it behind your blind spot and pretend you are powerless, because that is how you gain so much power in the first place.
Let's take a look at the queen of RedTube, Natalie Wynn. He is known for being one of the dumbest creators on the reactionary right.
I'm not... That edit works out funnier than I expected. Look, I'm not interested in any subjective whining about why is this YouTuber more popular than that YouTuber, because honestly, hold my beer. And then give me back my beer, I need to get drunk again. But to address your qualm there, perhaps the reason ContraPoints and No Bullshit have similar figures is because they're both drama channels. One creates it, the other just covers it. It all makes cosmic sense when you think about it. Okay, Pig, say 2 more things.
This is the problem that RedTube is facing. These reactionaries are making low effort, low quality, yet high yields of bullshit. So when you watch these videos, they actually have a pretty similar layout to mine.
What is that, isn't it? You admire the ContraPoints method, but you're nevertheless going to take the No Bullshit approach. Oh, it's more like as low effort as No Bullshit and as slow producing as ContraPoints. Kind of like ContraPoints. You're doing remarkably well from it, aren't you? You have a nice little base there, aren't you? All you have to do is drone into a microphone with a spectacularly dull voice and repeat the opinion pieces already being parroted all over the newspapers and the television. And Bob is indeed your dodgy uncle who did this to you.
YouTube favors low effort, high yield, short bullshit over long, well-made, spaced out content.
I was wondering how to give this video a dramatic climax, but boy, howdy, you are serving it up on a plate. Good night, everybody, and go!
YouTube doesn't care about research, well thought out, composed responses, or well put together analysis. It favors loud, ranting, reactionary garbage that amounts to nothing.
That is what Soulbunni thinks was radicalizing people to the right. Dr. Rammerkamp. Okay, you have to go back to work. I understand. That right there. That was young, teenage Xander Hall, years removed from, I want to kill her, Cherry, I need to kill. Right there. Right there. That's what Soulbunni thinks was radicalizing people. That's what Soulbunni thinks was popular. Criticism videos. Having commentary! You feel your racial raise rising? Why is your racial raise rising, Mr. Editor Cam? What did Mike do? Anyways, that's Soulbunni's argument. Soulbunni's argument is that Dr. Rammerkamp, and technically because I'm against them, me, content creators like me, and comedians like Mike that then encouraged YouTubers and content creators like Carl, and I suppose Jay as well, because I'm hungry now, because we do not give our voice to the mainstream, we're responsible for alt-right Nazis. And alt-right Nazis is when we disagree with the mainstream narrative. Where's my phone? And we don't allow people to control us. Real shit! Real shit! Real shit, chat! Real shit! They think that's real! Because criticism is racism. You're right, struggler. Criticism is racism. How could I forget? How could I forget?
Before a minor and a young college student knows it, they'd end up on a Ben Shapiro, Alex Jones, Richard Spencer, and or Stefan Molyneux's videos. This radicalized and...
I mean, that's alternative right. That's not right-wing.
If you go get it from...
That's not right-wing. Some of them were right-wing at the time, but many of them have now become alternative right. And not the normal alternative right that most of us would expect you to say, like, you know, your cum detectives. It's instead the alternative right because they became alternative media figures. Because they were demonetized and deplatformed. The fuck? But, you know, that's having context.
Indoctrinated so many people, which led to Trump getting elected. I was one of the victims of some...
It indoctrinated people, and that's how Trump won the election. He won the election not by being the better candidate, or by being the more popular candidate, or being the candidate that got the better electoral votes. It was because they were all radicalized and hypnotized in believing that Nazi juice fanny dick was the best way to the future.
Such a pipeline. When I first found Blair White in 2015, the self-hate it built within me that I was forced to undo on my own without any help of the now rebranded bigoted creators. BIPOC and queer people had no choice but to live with the traumas of surviving this hateful content.
You have no choice but to survive the context of hateful content? Other than, you know, like, not letting yourself get bullied? Are you really at the mercy? You can't just exist and be healthy? The fuck? No! You don't have to live with trauma. You could just not. What?
Just collateral damage to their means to their ends of making a buck on regressive content. In the second...
Well, I mean, you are that. Yes, you are. You're a means to an end because you keep letting grifters tell you what you should feel, and then you let them outrage you, and then you fight on behalf of their political struggle, and you don't realize who's working your mouth like a puppet, and then the next thing you know, a nigga's got his hand in your ass. And you're just like, ooh, daddy, yes, tell me about how I can be a good street soldier. Yes.
Quarter of 2017 was when YouTube finally stepped in and did something about the monetized content since advertisers were pulling away from the platform, forcing these creators to slowly rebrand unless they risked losing their platform or income they made online.
So instead of being forced to actually make themselves better, you allowed them to have a way to get away from the edginess that you claimed that they were bigoted for. But instead of the fact that that means that doesn't stop them from creating the content you say that they're so hateful for, that means all they did was make it harder to figure out who was a chameleon and who should actually be trusted as one of the based ones. Which is why you're now labeling iDubbbz and Chris Ray Gun. Now, you're legitimately correct, but they're not raging bigots. iDubbbz and Chris Ray Gun were never raging bigots. Hypocrites, sellouts, but not raging bigots. Make it stick.
Making it less lucrative unless you were the top dogs that went further right, like Kenneth Owens and Blair White. So it's understandable.
The even more far right. The far right position of, hey, I don't like the fact that people are using black people as a monolith, and I don't like that trans people are being used as a monolith. Who else are you gonna name? Ariana Scarcella? I don't like that lesbians are considered to be chapstick. I like bitches with heels.
When BIPOC and queer people are skeptical when we see a 6 to 7 year later apology after the money was already made, long after houses, cars, High-end clothing, Birkin bags were bought. Expensive tattoos, fancy dinners, investments, and more were already made off of racist and bigoted content. So yes, it rings hollow when we get the bare minimum crumbs of an apology. An apology that only benefited them since it put their mostly white audience back in good graces with them. They were deemed brand-friendly again, which raised their income.
You're allowed to have chosen words for christening, you aren't? True, Jack. The alt-right, Gamergate, Milo, and several tribes of the skeptics are responsible for 2016. How could you do this, Carl? I'm not responsible. Carl was marked safe during Gamergate. I was in college banging women. And by women, I mean my wife.
Giving them even more opportunities outside of YouTube. While many forget all the people they ran off the platform and even the internet altogether, it pisses me off the more.
If they were ran off the internet because their arguments were bad, that's because they were ran off the internet because their arguments are bad, or they couldn't hack it in their job. They couldn't hack it, and so they disappeared.
Think about it, which now turned into this video essay exploring whether or not these creators have changed and done the needed work to be worthy of forgiveness. So with all that—
The needed work! I wasn't aware that they had to pass your test. I apologize. All hail the demi-queer Soulbunni. All hail the arbiter of forgiveness. All hail Butts Up for Bunny! Butts Up for Bunny! Butts Up for Bunny! Okay. Alright. They have to pass your personal muster test. Pray tell, what are the rules, buddy? Is this an actual trial, or is this a trick question that both people lie? Neither path leads to safety. They all drop into lava. Ah. Christ. You sure the only non-white people that Ian targeted with content effects were Jinx and Rice Gum? Does Tanamojo... But does that... Words are hard. Does Tanamojo count as white? I'm pretty sure she's not white. How do people like this keep falling for the monolith POC line while making every white person a monolith, even though they don't move as one? That's a good question. I'd have to interview Soulbunni and get her opinion, but I'm pretty sure she would not give me an interview.
That being said, let's jump into this crumb apology that so many kept saying was the best of YouTube apology videos.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, you know, run my channel and live my life, and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs. I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is. I've realized that I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And
It's still a lie, even though we all know that this is an old clip at this point that everybody keeps replaying to say that he changed. He didn't. He just changed his targets.
And I've also created a culture of...
You didn't create a culture of harassment and toxicity. You were a part of a zeitgeist of a culture of... And it's necessary to put in air quotes, hateful bigotry and toxicity. It's still a bitch mood, my dude. You did it to try and survive, and you're still not surviving in content because your wife cucked the shit out of you. Because now she's posting fucking lewds for the lesbians! Disgusting!
apathy.
We all know what's wrong with the video, but why would Soulbunni have an issue with it? Because if he doesn't pass her personal test of muster, then he's bad. Yeah. Yeah. Because Soulbunni's the arbiter of whether or not you're legitimately deserving of forgiveness, you see. Again, butts up for Bunny. You love that they use iDubbbz as a spokesperson for the alt-right while ignoring he's only selling it to stay relevant and make himself the CEO of Edgy. The CEO of Edgy! Edginess is being Joe Dirt.
and I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel. So I don't want people to, you know, get it confused about, you know, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, you know, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions, you know, but that's so silly, you know. Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry.
Good intentions, that means nothing in the long run when the impact is greater than their supposed good intentions and using the N-word uncensored. I also want to say that there's no such thing.
Oh, so the problem is that they used it uncensored. So how did you want them to say it? I'm sorry, do you realize how much vocal control it takes to say without being able to say? It's really hard to say without being able to say. It's so difficult. Like, imagine saying it. Try to visualize censoring the particular vowel and syllable before it comes out of your mouth, chat. It's a learned skill. Because realistically, all I'm doing is holding my breath and saying without actually being able to say. But the word itself is still being uttered on my lips. Watch. It's like a gasp of air as it physically leaves my lungs and it is muted before my mouth doesn't make the vowel sound. Watch, I'm about to add ER to it. It's so fucking hard! Is that how they have to use it? Every single time I want to be able to call somebody, I have to be able to call them I can't even be able to call them a jigaboo. Imagine trying to censor jigaboo. It's so fucking hard! Not everybody can live in a Black Mirror episode, my man. So Nazis, they can say it as long as when they say it, white power, white power, white power. I hate those. I hate hating those. Go to hell. Nobody will understand what they're talking about unless they're really good lip readers. Gonna fucking stand by for the single one black woman that can channel the black character that was portrayed by fucking. It wasn't even Nia Long. Naomi Campbell? No, wrong actress. The black actress in Neo-Ned. I'm pretty sure not even Jeremy Renner could. The fuck? The fuck do you expect them to think when you say shit like they said it uncensored? Are you serious? You hate the way I say. You hate the way that I also call them a. Because we could make the exact same accusation about all of the left wing and how quickly they are to reach for the uncensored version of Trash Panda. I'm actually terrified a little bit to say the word because out of context, I could actively still get stricken on my channel. It's something that they are not shy about doing, especially in or out of context. Exposed wire? No, that's just filth inside the crack and crevice. Oh, my finger's getting electrocuted. You need it as a short? You can clip it. Remember, you kind of have to like mark the place where you want to clip it and then make the edit afterwards, because if you clip it while I'm live, it apparently time shifts the edit forward by 15 seconds. It's opinions like this, Soulbunni, that makes people think that it's ridiculous and dumb.
As casual racism, especially when you're using the N-word. It's just...
Oh, okay, that's even worse. So, they can't use it uncensored, and it can't be casual racism. Okay. Alright. Okay. Just hire a black person to stand in the background of all your videos in complete silence until you want to say the word, and then have him say it for you without going in complete silence. It's time for ranked racism. We have to bring in the true racial believers. Let me get in Bill and like call in 5 other people. I'm gonna assemble a squad. I too am gonna come.
It's racism. This idea of casual racism is only afforded to white people since they're punching down on.
Oh, okay. So casual queue is only afforded to whites. So who goes into true ranked competitive queue? Tell me, Soulbunni.
Everyone else but themselves. It's such a cop-out mentality, and to still use that phrase, casual racism, shows me he hasn't dug deep enough. Especially when he literally called black people the N-word in his videos, which is an insult.
No, he did not. He called them a lot of things, but he didn't call them that.
To write off as casual racism. This is also the only time in his videos or other appearances where he uses the word racism. He hides behind the words bigoted and harmful, which doesn't necessarily mean racism. You can make bigoted content that isn't racist. It's the fact that he knows that racism.
Soulbunni, we're gonna look up the word together, okay? We're gonna look it up together. I have to move my chicken out of the way before I do so. We're gonna look up the word bigotry. Bigotry. It should be this window. Properties. Bigotry. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction, in particular prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group.
Things more words plan word in his videos, which is an insult to write off as casual racism. This is also the only time in his videos or other appearances where he uses the word racism. He hides behind the words bigoted and harmful, which doesn't necessarily mean racism. You can make bigoted content that isn't racist.
Obstinate and unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or a faction, and particular prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership to a particular group. Racism. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against the person or people on the basis of the membership of a particular race of people of a racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Racism is the noun form of another expression and attachment to the noun form of the action. Bigotry is the attachment that they have to the inclination to attack a group of people. In essence, in short, intolerance. Soulbunni, you can't use English! But should I be surprised? You're just another... You can't blame Soulbunni for not being able to use words, chat. She's just a nappy-headed... Don't you understand that? Look at the size of the afro on that, like on this head. Just look at it. Just look at her. Look at her. I have to go back further. Look at her. Look how large that afro is. How Africanated the 4C curls falls off her head. Boy, you know that they don't know what the fuck they talking about. They don't know what the fuck they talk. I swear to God! I swear to God. I swear to God. You guys make it too fucking easy. You guys make it too fucking easy. Yes.
Just so you know, nobody saw what you were talking about.
I know. It was still up on the other side. Soulbunni, you cannot use words like this and then expect people to take you seriously. This isn't even a situation of prejudice versus power, right? We're not even talking about the inclinated reinterpretation of bigotry and racism so that you can say people being bigoted towards blacks is evil, but people being bigoted and racist towards whites isn't evil. Because they're not being racist, they're just being prejudiced. They can have prejudice, but even here, prejudice is still included in the base form of racism. By your own logic, the entire joke that I just did, that people couldn't technically see because I'm a dumbass, still isn't racism or valid, because I didn't use it incorrectly. And even then, I have the race card. I have the racial pass. It's silly. This is fucking silly, Soulbunni. It's dumb and it's silly. It's not serious.
People the N-word in his video. He should
Off of it.
say racist in his apology video more than once, and definitely not hiding behind the term casual racism.
I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. You know, these videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with. And I expect to.
I don't know why the fuck you said that back in the day. Back in the day being like, what, a year and a half ago now? But no, you shouldn't have to live with the accusation of bigotry and racism of your past for the rest of your life. You fucking make your mea culpa and you move forward from it. Because if you don't do that, then it's people like Soulbunni get to hold it against you forever because you literally gave them permission to. And they will! Because they're bitches. Why is the screen not updated? I know why, because I have to refresh it like this. There we go.
I've profited off of this.
Oh, buffering? Nah, it's buffering.
Away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with. And I expect to. I've profited off of this.
A second, I'll fix that.
I've clearly done a lot of damage. You know, these videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with. And I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years, and I've made a successful career out of it, and that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable. I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups who had to put up with that video and put up with, you know, the phrases. I said either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And that's just so dangerous and stupid. A very big thing that has sort of altered my view on all of this is just the amount of hate and harassment my wife Anissa has received over the years.
Which was deserved.
So thank you for watching, everyone. I do want to create more regular content, and you know, I don't want to just have the next 5 videos be apologies.
He says he shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. But let's see if he does exactly that by the end of the segment. He acknowledges that a sorry won't be enough and how he profited off of racist and bigoted content. I'm holding him to the fire on the racist part since he keeps hiding behind the words bigoted. I also notice he only gives black people 14 seconds as an apology while giving Tana, a white woman, the majority of it, who also said the N-word. I also dislike how he hides behind the word slurs. Say you normalize the usage of the N-word, just how you said it so loudly with your chest when you were profiting from the usage of that racist shock humor. I'll revisit his wife later in the video, but let's laser in on him saying he just wants to make regular content. Like he said, he doesn't want to make 5 apology videos, which is starting to sound like a contradiction to his earlier statements on how he shouldn't just be able to make an apology video and walk away from it all. But let's see what actions he has made since then. Before I do, let's peek at a few black people's thoughts on his apology that most of the viewers still weren't checking for. Just how we were ignored in 2016.
I appreciate him finally coming out and making this video, but I don't forgive you mainly because it's too damn late. Like, you waited years to do this. People have been telling you what you was doing was wrong for years. You waited so long, and the fans you pushed into being outright demonic people have already hardened, and they don't need your
Demonic people.
Just how we were ignored in 2016.
I appreciate him.
Before I do,
Why is
let's
that
peek
pausing
at
like
a
that?
few black people's thoughts on his apology that most of the viewers still weren't
Okay.
checking.
I truly care less about iDubbbz's apology, air quote. After the first conscious step, I should have known. Bro's been a menace since the beginning and ruined an entire generation and waited a decade to apologize because it stopped benefiting him. He wasn't an edgelord, he was just racist.
Just how we were ignored in 2016.
I appreciate him finally coming out and making this video, but I don't forgive you mainly because it's too damn late. Like, you waited years to do this. People have been telling you what you was doing was wrong for years. You waited so long, and the fans you pushed into being outright demonic people have already hardened, and they don't need your validation to continue being terrible people. They're gonna watch this and say he's just a soy boy leftist now. Like, they don't need you anymore. So, and you can't apologize and just say, oh, it was bad that I said the N-word. You said it a bunch of times, bro. Several times per video. Like, yeah, it's good to apologize.
You said it several times, bro. Several times you said the word. You cannot say the word like that, man. That yacht is goddamn bad, man.
But nobody.
That's facts on the apology being too late now that his ex-fans truly don't need him to validate their hatred. They have hardened.
It's all hatred, their ex-fans? All of them? All of them? It's all of them are hatred? All of them? Every single last one? All of those people? I'm pretty sure he's in the millions range. I don't think he has that much power over people. Influence, possibly. But power? No. No, Bunny, no. No, Bunny, no. He's honestly doing cuts to the video instead of just letting Ian speak. Like, almost didn't want the audience to hear everything he was saying. Yes. This is something that's everyone well known. They're very late to the party on making a video like this. But we gonna let Bunny have her. We gonna let Bunny have her piece. We finna let her have her piece.
And they did mock iDubbbz for even making an apology video. It's actually 90% of the videos you see when looking up iDubbbz till this day. Another reason why I made this video, since I didn't see him held to the fire, other than from D'Angelo Wallace and Olaimi, who interviewed him. The rest were non-black people who either shout on him or were quick to praise him on his latest hell apology, quickly uplifted him, which drowned out the black, brown, and queer people that should have been listened to at this moment. But just how people didn't care in 2016.
It's the black and brown people who had the biggest opinion. You needed to listen to the black and brown people. The blacks and browns. The blacks and browns.
They once again ignored what we had to say, but we're long used to that by now.
Hi,
Before
Bolster.
I dig deeper on what he has done post-apology, let's peek at a few clips of his first interview after his apology video. Somehow, the amazing Olaimi was able to have an interview and
Her name is Old or Naughty. Soulbunni. Orlanati. Actually, what is her last name again? It's so hard to find her fucking name. Olay and friends. Older naughty. OLURN Natty. Olayemi. Olayemi. Excuse me. Olayemi. Olrun. So, relatively kind of hard name to say, because it's African. Boy, this is it's African. So Olayemi, Olorin. It's like saying Aurora Monroe. It's the same equivalent of hard name. Olanati It's not that hard to say, Soulbunni. Why are you pronouncing it so weird?
And directly challenge him on his past mindset and offer to him ways he can improve. Let's hear some of the key moments that stuck out to me that's worth discussing.
In his apology,
Why does she think that POC people are owed an audience? Because the smaller the minority, the more valid their opinion. So if they're a small minority whose opinion are being ignored, they deserve to have the biggest microphone. Because they're being marginalized and not listened to, so their voices matter most.
he singled out only one creator. At first, the only name he singles out to apologize to in this video
is a white woman.
Francesca, okay, we're right here. We are right.
I mean, you know, I clocked that immediately.
But it's even the center of what I believe drove the desire to go this path, because I think his audience, what happened is the audience
They were attacking his wife.
And that is the tea. And that's the tea.
That's when it got real.
and that's what I'm like, so it got real for you when a white woman was hurt.
I'll be honest, I first didn't think of the Tana angle, so seeing two highly respected black women quickly point that out made me feel a little embarrassed with myself.
Highly respected? Francesca Ramsey? Married to a white man? Highly respected? Betrayer to her race? A certified snow bunny hopper? Doom. Where's the effect? Where's the bell? You sit here, Soulbunni, and you tell me that Francesca Ramsey was a legitimate, respected black woman when she's out here betraying her race to her massa? Out here getting bent over by the master's tools? Stop it! Stop the cap! Stop the cap! Pick it back up. Put it back on the top. Screw it back on. Stop it.
But then quickly turned into anger. Like they said, he centered whiteness even within an apology for anti-blackness and racism towards black people. Francesca Ramsey, one of his victims, who was also one of the largest targets by anti-SJW creators in 2015 through 2017, clocked how it got real for iDubbbz once his wife was impacted. Of course.
But everything didn't get real for you when shit got real, when people started impacting the fact that you were still trying to grift years after the end. It was real that it only mattered to him when it was his wife, but it didn't matter in your situation when people realized the reason that you were being given so much help on MTV Decoded was because you were one of those self-serving black women that the moment you could no longer get anything out of your racial card, you went ahead and played the Joker card. I need to add this to the soundboard. Be for real! Be for real. Be fucking before real. My god. Be for real. Was that a black Joker on her wall? Let's check.
The loss and anger.
White woman was hurt.
I'll be honest, I
That's wife. Desire to clock that. Okay.
I don't think so.
So seeing two highly respected black women quickly point that out made me feel a little embarrassed with myself, but then quickly turned into anger. Like they said, he centered whiteness even within an apology for anti-blackness and racism towards black people. Francesca Ramsey, one of his victims, who was also one of the largest targets by anti-SJW creators in 2015 through 2017, clocked how it got real for iDubbbz once his wife was impacted. Of course, his wife doesn't deserve any hate she's gotten from iDubbbz fans, but let's look deeper into the mindset of ignoring how he hurt a whole generation of black people with no care.
What I find interesting is that even in apologizing for doing racist things, a white woman is who was apologized to, as though there weren't black people who were called the N-word. And I wonder, because that took me down a rabbit hole of watching, videos, and I saw a content cop you did on Jinx.
On camera.
You don't get a break in the beginning. No resting, 100%, 24/7 grind.
Damn, this is on the grind.
He called him a soft A, joking about how he used words himself. So he can't repeat the words that he's quoting him on in the joke. So that to you means he was still re-traumatizing black people, somebody. Cap.
All these black people, you called black people themselves the N-word, but they aren't singled out in the apology, and I wonder why it is that that's the case.
This was a royal moment in this interview because I highly doubt it even crossed his mind that he focused so much of his apology to Tana, yet not a single apology to any black creator, as if he didn't call them the N-word multiple times. This shows us he didn't even think as deeply.
Once again, Soulbunni, the N-word implies the use of ER. If he's calling him on, then he's not actually using the word. If he just calls him a, he's not using the word. Yeah, if he called him a, then he's using the word. But he called him, so he's not using the word. Be consistent to your own rules, bitch.
As people who accepted his apology on the behalf of black people stated. It's truly giving PR vibes, but let's keep going.
Because it is public relations vibes. What are you talking about? He's groveling so that he can have a fucking career because of Shoal's remorse. Come on. Why is it, as Jake says, the malleable mulattoes and black women with white husbands struggle this hard regarding race? Because they're self-defeating and self-hating.
Get Francesca's feelings of like, you can't like undo 5-10 years of harassment that I've received. Like,
Yeah.
So I get it. I wish, I mean, all I can think of, you know, at this point is to communicate my headspace and like where I was at the time and how I came to terms with like understanding like my role and responsibility in our community, and just like communicate to that to people, because that's as close as I can get to like undoing things or like fixing things.
Yeah.
I've had to interact with, you know, boxing is a community that has a lot of marginalized people in it. You know, there are a lot of black people in boxing, Mexicans. I mean, it is super popular.
Even as he's describing this, it sounds like he's trying to do his best to avoid being racist towards the minorities that are in the sport that he's trying to grift onto for attention and money.
Around the world.
It's also quite interesting to hear him admit all he can think of was offering crumbs. Crumbs for the hurt, damaged.
I mean, it's not self-flagellation. It's Soulbunni trying to antagonize a man who has already lost all the shreds of self-respect he has, while his wife now is selling it to the lesbians. Because she ain't selling it to the men. She already sold it to them. All over OnlyFans! Now the lesbians get it for free on Twitter!
Down and radicalized fans who harassed and likely voted for Trump, who stripped away rights from marginalized people. I can't help but to point out how he said Mexicans instead of Hispanic or Latino people.
Because there are a lot of Mexicans in boxing. There's a lot of Hispanics, period, but there's a lot of Mexicans in boxing. We kind of cannibalized their popular sport, dude. We kind of did that as Americans. That's our L to hold. And yes, he did try to sell her as creator clash being a form of reparations. Again, this is an old clip that Soulbunni's using in this video, but he did.
I'm half Mexican, but I'm well aware.
I don't believe you for a fucking second. You look at that face and you tell me that's a beater. Excuse me. You tell me that's a... You look me in the face, Chatty. You tell me that's a... You tell me that looks like a... You tell me that looks like a... Back. This is a fun game. Stop it! Stop making it easy to mock you! Oh my god! Somebody stop me. And before YouTube cuts my channel. Oh, fuck Christ. No, stop it. No. No, stop it. Stop it. You cannot take stolen burrito. You cannot commit stolen burrito. Stop it. You cannot commit stolen tapatio. We will not stand for it, and we can barely sit for it because that shit is spicy on a Tuesday.
When that doesn't accurately represent the many different Latino people. Also, it's weird to group nationalities when you're talking about...
Excuse me, what was that word? Did you just say Latine?
It's quite interesting to hear him admit all he can think of was offering crumbs. Crumbs for the hurt, damaged, done, and radicalized fans who harassed and likely voted for Trump, who stripped away rights from marginalized people. I can't help but to point out how he said Mexicans instead of Hispanic or Latino people. I'm half Mexican, but I'm well aware of how cringy it is to group all Latino people together under Mexican.
Latine? You didn't even pronounce the Xy. Does Latine? Latine? Is that the new one? I'm googling that. 1 second. Is Latine the new one? Did they evolve from X? It's in a Wiktionary. It is a nominative vocative, plural, and genitive dative singular inflection of Latina. Okay. It's real, it just sounded fake.
When that doesn't accurately represent the many different Latino people. Also, it's weird to group nationalities when you're talking about ethnic and racial group identities, since white people can identify with being Mexican. Say I'm nitpicking, but this stuck out to me.
Excuse me, Soulbunni, excuse me, miss. I was told by Cam Belair that white people can't identify with anybody except themselves. So what do you mean they can identify with Mexicans? Is it because they eat so much Taco Bell that they just be staying on the toilet doing almost fucking nothing just like a back? What are you actually saying? But honestly, are they cooking though or what?
The way they're black people's platforms that you brought down, bring some black people's platforms up.
I think that's a good idea, and I'm going to take your advice on that.
Alani gave a perfect suggestion to iDubbbz on bringing black content creators' platforms up. Yet, a year later, he has...
Reparations. You fucked around and you tried to take monetization from blacks, so your conscription for the rest of your career is to become white FD signifier. Bring up black content creators that don't deserve platforms because you use too many N-words. And this is now your community service. You serve our community. Get down there and start licking, boy. Okay. There's a legitimate contingency of them that actually believes how that's supposed to work. I can tell you for certain, there's a legitimate contingency of them that actually believes that is what they get to do to other people. It's retarded, but they legitimately believe that's how they get to treat people. They legitimately believe that that's the way that they're supposed to be allowed to approach. They are allowed to treat you like shit. And in treating you like shit, they make you feel like you owe them when you owe them nothing. Excuse me.
Has not done that, despite him saying it's a great idea since he ran black content creators off the platform. He literally just used this interview as PR and went right back to doing him, confirming his
Yes, because that's all he had to do. That's all you guys made it possible to do. That's all you ever said there was a minimum of. They had to say, I take accountability. I take responsibility for every unchecked moment. Remember that shit during COVID from the celebrities? That's what you said. You said you want crony capitalism. You said you want yellow and pink capitalism. You want people to be able to have to say the words but not actually mean them. That's your fault. Because taking accountability and actually owning accountability, that's right-wing propaganda. That's a bigotry. That's a misogyny. That's a patriarchy. That's a kyriarchy.
prophecy on how he shouldn't just be able to make an apology and walk away from everything. I even triple checked when going through his channel. Yeah,
I mean, if you want to be technical, he couldn't walk away from shit because he can't leave his wife.
Couldn't even find a playlist or community tab post. So my next...
I mean, shit, he's already paying for it because he can't even fuck his wife. There is actually a 1% chance that everybody in this chat room, even the women, have a better chance of fucking his wife than iDubbbz has at fucking his wife. Because he gets fucked by his wife all the time, but he'll never be able to insert. How's that for a fucking L? You try to think outside that bun.
Step was to check his Twitter to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the most he did was quote tweet Olaimi's interview with him. This is why I'm frustrated with the handful of white creators who ran to welcome him with open arms, grinning wide as hell, while he hasn't even attempted to do more than the bare minimum, which was an apology. He got away with making millions on racist, hateful content, and now is deemed brand friendly after his mini apology tour to come off as if he cares, but his lack of action shows otherwise. This makes me think deeper on how his wife was able to benefit from racist N-word saying content. Behind every racist white man is a white woman that loves him, holds him down, and supports the BS.
Oh, she's holding him down all right. She's holding him down all right. I have too much fun with Belle.
Since she directly benefited from racist content that positively impacted her life, houses bought, luxury items, etc., she was able to have a successful fans account and grow as a streamer. Creator Clash was able to be made.
Did she though? Did she grow as a content creator? Because she kind of shrank, actually. She was bigger before she got related and involved with him. And she took the knee and left content creation because she couldn't fucking handle it.
So no, she's not brave or amazing for impacting iDubbbz to shifting, especially now we established that that was a self-serving PR tour. I'm done with that narrative, and people need to think more critically before rushing to forgive someone that didn't directly impact them negatively. This is a miscarriage of justice, and once again, black people are still ignored. I and other black people are forced to live with the trauma of his racist content. I won't ever get the unbearable years of high school back when the N-word was thrown my way by so-called edgy white kids.
Oh my god, I suffered in high school in fucking Orange County, guys. So many white people said at me uncensored, leaving the vocal cords of their lips the way that it won't leave Carl's. Oh, woe is me!
In my suburban area. Trauma that impacted the way I navigate through the world till this day. But that's nothing.
Also, you're right, Jack. The meet and greet was her idea, right? Remember? Remember, guys? Remember that one too? That makes it even worse. Every single idea that she said that Ian ever had that was a win and selling idea came from her. So the racism and bigotry is his wife's fault. But you're blaming him because he's the man with the penis!
Nothing new for black Americans. Suggestions I can give iDubbbz that I know
you paradigm shift motherfuckers rub my asshole raw. Oh my god. Play it back.
People are forced to live with the trauma of his racist content. I won't ever get the unbearable years of high school back when the N-word was thrown my way by so-called edgy white kids in my suburban area. Trauma that impacted the way I navigate through the world till this day. But that's nothing new for black Americans. Suggestions I can give iDubbbz that I know he won't even bother attempting to remedy are so simple it's enraging. He easily can put together a playlist for black and brown people, do fundraiser streams with large content creators to help put together a black creator fund to share the wealth he made off of our suffering. But we all know he's too busy running to the bank with the income he's gained from this apology tour. Believe it or not, iDubbbz isn't even the biggest person I personally have a bone to pick with. Chris Reagan, a slightly lesser known, but also had a rebrand after making—
Oh yes, the Bernie bro. Mm-hmm. Carl, why is it that always people like Soulbunni can't get over high school and then go on diatribes? I would say it's a re-traumatization ritual. Imagine a victim, or rather, excuse me, imagine a villain that's been victimized. And every so often, they take out a totem and an effigy. So, like, Magneto has his, he has his death camp markings or like a villain who's been burned, like his face, his scars, so like Zuko, or any other character that has some kind of other physical or emotional scar that they just hold on to for dear life. They just hold it tight, it's squeezing in their hand. It's like, this is why I can never forgive them. Everybody has to die, Mr. Swiggles. I have to fight those because they made my life bad. All of those disgusting evil are responsible for why I can't have a life, Mr. Squiggles. It's a re-traumatization ritual, more or less. They have to make sure that they always hold on to the anger, because if they ever demonstrate the ability to be involved in it, and it's kind of like a hit and miss problem, more or less, for the majority. Millennials are a big problem with this. Zoomers are a big problem with this as well. But Generation X is also a big problem with this, because some of them never grew out of high school. They never grew out of the high school mentality. That's why a lot of drama content really just feels like niggas living through high school. Because they live in a full clique, and they've never grown past it. For the ones that are able to at least disguise it, they don't get pressed on it. But for everybody else, pretty much breadtubers like Soulbunni herself, the high school mentality is very, very clear, because they never learned how to... They never got past their peak. Like, they emotionally peaked at, I don't like that they said that to me. And they can't get... That's their level. They can't get above their level.
Making thousands of dollars off of bigoted, racist, anti-intellectual content. He also was one of Franchesca Ramsey's biggest harassers, as for some reason, he had such a hate boner for her simply making anti-racist content for MTV.
Yeah, you can get out of here with that Anita Sarkeesian, how dare you criticize her talking point. That's bullshit. Because harassment is not criticism, and criticism is not harassment. And he did not harass her. He criticized her, he made jokes, but he didn't harass her. There's more argument from Franchesca Ramsey and Anita Sarkeesian harassed plenty of people that were a part of what would be called the disaffected alternative right. But even then, amongst the shit posters and the broadcasters of that era, they had more reason to be considered fucked with content creators that were on the outs and not really given the chance to defend themselves than others. That is directly responsible and accounted by the fact that every chance that they were given to deal with the problems, they were thrown to the wayside. Legitimately. If you can call somebody a garbage human from the stage of a panel that you are on, and you're not thrown out of the event for violating their policy, then it's very clear that you are part of the war machine. You're not a victim of a regime. You are the regime. You are the person howling for the charge of the overdog. You're not the underdog.
The amount of now deleted Gamergate videos he made, joining in on the dog pile on Anita Sarkeesian, the wild stuff...
Yep, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is!
...that would come out of his mouth, and narratives he would push, amazes me somehow how he was able to gracefully rebrand once it wasn't profitable to make the same edgy comedy videos that help lead people to the alt-right pipeline. Him being the starting point...
And yes, Chris took down he took down his, I don't think he took down all of them. He took down the last one, which was part 3 of the musical, but he took them down because he was a coward. And he didn't like the fact that people re-uploaded versions of it because they wanted to preserve it.
Yet you'll later see his views on what he calls a narrative. Let's dive right into some of his old content so you can understand why I, as an ex-viewer, might have a bone to pick with him and his current positions that you'll see soon enough.
Oh, of course, because you were an ex-viewer of him. That's the reason why you're making it. There's no other reason you can do it. Certainly no other reason.
Let's let him speak for himself on how he viewed his content during that era.
It felt at the time like the point of view of the reasonable liberal, the liberal who understood the context of humor, who didn't get bent out of shape over every little thing, just wasn't being voiced. To the point where I thought I was crazy, like nobody else thinks this is ridiculous? Am I really the only person who thinks this is all really, it was super alienating, but eventually I did come across, like-minded people, and that content became popular, and, that was that. Fast forward a year or two in late 2015, early 2016, and it became pretty clear that anti-social justice warrior positions, or whatever you want to call it, anti-PC notions, weren't as niche as they used to be. Many high-profile artists, high-profile content creators, all sorts of people were kind of joining in on the fun. Ethan and Gila started poking fun at the whole humongous situation. PewDiePie was starting to delve into similar topics. It's weird to think about now, but back in the day, back in like 2014, it really did feel like every single popular YouTube content creator, that's PewDiePie, that's Ethan and Gila, that's iDubbbz, that's all these people. And because of that, I no longer felt very compelled to just share my opinion in a serious way. It felt like representation for that point of view was already relatively commonplace. But what I did find was that there was a distinct lack of comedy-focused content based around these kinds of topics.
Notice how he mentioned iDubbbz. This is why we are saying iDubbbz influenced creators to go further, which created a culture.
Okay, so by your logic there, Soulbunni, let's see here. Shoe On Head encouraged people to go further. Lacey Green, his girlfriend at the time, before they broke up, encouraged people to go further. Armored Skeptic, words are hard. Gregory Fleur, Greg encouraged people to go further. Gila and Ethan Klein, the H3H2 podcast, encouraged people to go further. Boy, that argument didn't work out in the long run, did it, huh? Especially when people kept calling him a anist. You know what I'm saying? Can't have some people going out there just calling you what... Well, that was a weird burp. You can't go out there having people call you what anist. You know? You can't have good faith for the people of Israel and also want them to not be bombarded to death. That makes you an anist. That's a slur, if you've ever heard one.
Culture of apathy, hatred, racism, and harassment. Chris Reagan said it himself. He didn't care to intellectually engage with the left-leaning content he disliked. He was more excited.
I mean, what intellectual content is there possible to have with most left-leaning content when most of it's anti-intellectual at its own basis? The accusation that you actually gave to the alt-right, which would have been the dissident right, was itself anti-intellectual because they were scientisms, or scientists because they believe in scientism, and they are clearly not people who believe in shit like that. More like faith healing, faith corruption, faith cursing.
To punch down and make jokes out of stuff that he had no business mocking. But let's see the comedy content he's so proud of that he still has currently up on his YouTube channel.
Can we all just agree that Black Lives Matter isn't the opposite of All Lives Matter? Black lives just matter. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
Okay, you don't know what the word opposite means. It's okay. It's a really big word. It's a complicated word to understand. You see, I agree with you that all lives matter isn't the opposite of Black Lives Matter because that doesn't make any sense. The word all literally would include black lives. The opposite of Black Lives Matter would be Black Lives Don't Matter. It's pretty simple. But it's the Black Lives Matter people who feel like all lives matter is the opposite. Like, they're the ones treating it as if it is. As if it invalidates what they're saying, even though all, again, includes black lives. So yeah, no, it's BLM who thinks it's the opposite. No one else is under that impression.
Started off heavy, calling Black Lives Matter as the opposite of All Lives Matter. Loudly, wrongly, and boldly pushing the straw man of All Lives Matter, whose roots is simply a...
Saying that all lives matter is a straw man of Black Lives Matter is like saying that people saying, why the fuck are you telling people to stop Asian hate when the only people beating on Asians is black people? When people bring up the fact that Stop Asian Hate was itself a grift that was meant to castigate white people until the tapes of black motherfuckers knock it out hit the airwaves. Let's not pretend, Soulbunni. People were Golden Glove champions. 5-time champions of the streets. Because in the hood, we're making a sporting event out of it.
Racist counter-protests to Black Lives Matter by triggered white and anti-black people. He confidently pushed such ignorant, harmful rhetoric, supporting the All Lives Matter's lies, and demonized the whole black social justice movement because how dare black people bring awareness to our nuanced plight? But since Chris Ray Gun is too ignorant to understand Black Lives Matter, let me break it down in elementary simple terms. Let's say Black Lives Matter represents a person with a burning house. The people with the burning house are advocating for aid and support, but here comes All Lives Matter, whose house is not on fire. They're completely fine. But just the idea of people with burning houses are advocating for themselves irks them to their racist core. That's simple, but common sense wasn't too common in the 2015 to 2017 era of YouTube.
Also, Blue Lives Matter isn't a thing. Cops weren't born with blue skin, right? I mean, yeah, they weren't born blue.
Good. Brilliant. You gotta be kidding me with this shit. You can't say something you're addressing isn't a thing just because you have a negative opinion of it. Also, they weren't born blue? What the hell does that mean? Like, what does that literally mean? So because they weren't born cops, it's silly to say that their lives matter? You can't be serious. Hey, handicapped lives matter, crippled lives matter, but only if you were born crippled. If you jumped on the crippled bandwagon in your mid-20s like, look at me, I got polio, your life doesn't matter. Christopher Reeve? That guy joined way late. I was crippled before it was even cool. Stephen Hawking? More like, even walking is hard for you now, but it wasn't always, because you weren't born this way. The point of saying Blue Lives Matter is basically saying cops' lives matter. Like, you can't just cop just because a cop somewhere else did a bad thing.
Chris, you're saying a slur. You can't say... You have to call them pigs. Remember, pigs in a franket. You're flying my bacon with extra cheese and onions. You caramelize them under the justice of the streets.
Like, it's stupid. And that logic also extends to black people and white people and every people under the sun, whether or not they're born a certain way, whether or not they're in a certain profession.
Fucking is a slur? Or, excuse me. Eating is a slur? But I love them! Oh, right now!
You can't just convict someone of something because someone else who is similar to them did it. Ooh, is it right or is it wrong to suggest that white people are inherently evil due to the sins of their ancestors? I do say, if you're actually seriously having that conversation, you need to just cease. I also want to take this opportunity to say that I'm not inherently against the idea of Black Lives Matter. It's a totally fine phrase to say. It's a totally reasonable phrase to say. It's not false in any way. My problem lies with the movement and what they've done, because I feel like what they've done is counterintuitive. All that blah. You get the picture.
When you didn't think he can go any lower, he does just that by attempting to validate the Blue Lives Matter straw man. It's already pissing me.
The straw man that if I am a cop, excuse me, if I am a who is just a pig working for the fascist police state, enforcing the rule of law so that you can be protected from those people that would murder you because you are not a woman. I'm sorry. I said the worst slur of all. The worst slur of all. You're not a birthing person. They don't deserve to live. Effectively. Alright. Okay, Soulbunni. I'm gonna need you to go to your most recent police precinct, and I'm gonna need you to tell them, don't come around my neighborhood no more. Even though these white people make me terrified and scared of the fact that I'm still crippled about the terror they did to me when I was a young child, adolescent, growing into an adult, I don't want you coming around my house. You cops don't help people with strenuous pains, with house checks and sympathy calls and sheriff department visits. No. Okay, it's alright. Well, next.
Off. But let me also break this silly argument into simple terms, since I highly doubt he changed his views on this due to the video still being up.
Oh, it wasn't already simplified? Okay, go ahead and translate for us. Do your ease. Translated into physical, simplified African-American black vernacular. Is black a slur? Am I allowed to say black, Soulbunni? Lord knows they try to attack me if I say Negro.
can take off their uniform. It's a choice to be a power-hungry cop that overlooks racism and injustice. No one in Black Lives Matter advocated for cops to... Black Lives Matter, just like All Lives Matter, only sprouted up to counter-protest Black Lives Matter. The deep-rooted racism within both the All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter hashtag, because they weren't movements, is maddening. Anything but critically engaging with what Black people have to say about our own plight. The fact that it's taken George Floyd for people with Chris Ray Gun's ignorant perspective to shift their views is another frustrating reality.
A drug addict who swallowed an entire condom's worth full of drugs? Okay. Just because a saran wrap exploded in his stomach does not mean that he's a victim.
It's also so cringy to hear the way he talks about disabled people, but what can you expect from such a big-brain YouTube comedian? Now, remember when I said he was one of Francesca's biggest harassers? Well, this video just gives you a glimpse into the racist talking points he had when talking about her and those adjacent. This video pissed me off, and you'll see why.
Now, this is the part of the podcast that I feel is the most telling. Fran, you have a microphone not because of your skills, talent, or unique perspective. Because let's be real, I'm gonna be blunt here for a minute. Because, Fran, your unique perspective is shared by literally every single person on your panel. Your skill, your special skill, Fran, is that you can be relied upon and depended on to toe the line that Google wants. Because honestly, out of genuine curiosity, Fran, what is your talent? Can you sing? Can you edit? Can you act? Because all I see on your personal channel is vlogs and BuzzFeed clickbait. And granted, it's BuzzFeed clickbait before BuzzFeed clickbait, but pioneering BuzzFeed clickbait isn't exactly a talent. I don't understand where this self-aggrandizing view of yourself is coming from. As if that somehow makes you a better person than anybody in the audience just because you were invited to a panel solely because your opinion is the most palatable. Like, get a grip.
I am someone that has been invited to be here.
Yeah, Fran, sure. I'm very positive that the bar to get on this panel is so very high. It must require a very large audience and a very immense amount of relevance just to make the list. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it has nothing to do with any other factor involving where you lean politically. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it.
Yes, this clown was undermining the Cat Black. It's almost like he wanted to say they only got the opportunity due to DEI initiatives, but the phrase DEI didn't exist at the time or he'd be screaming it at the top of his lungs. I'm just amazed at how anti-black he can be, writing Francesca off as untalented as if skill, writing, editing, etc. doesn't go into her videos, let alone her
she's not skillful. Let's just start there, Soulbunni, and work our way backwards, shall we?
TV show. They had to be so disingenuous to justify their attacks on her skills and work, all because she made them think deeper on topics they were introduced to. Francesca did more than pioneer what he calls BuzzFeed content. Francesca Ramsey laid out the foundation of BreadTube, or more known as leftist content. The needed discourse she pushed got her harassed when it's now common leftist knowledge. Put some respect on her name. That's more than enough of his older content to witness to understand how harmful and racist his content was. It was enough psychic damage done to myself editing this all. The next question one would ask is his views on his older content, and is he apologetic? Is he taking accountability for indoctrinating and making his younger viewers more bigoted and racist? We can find that out right now in this video he made post-Vosh stream that made him reflect on his past content. It's rich with growth, as you'll see.
And I had a lot of left-wingers kind of flipping out at me saying like, oh, they didn't believe me. They didn't really believe I changed my mind. They think I'm just sort of jumping into the left-wing bandwagon because that's the grift now and that's what's popular and relevant. Now, normally I would just sort of let this stuff go, but we're all in quarantine and I'm bored out of my mind. So I figured I'd read some of the really brilliant criticisms that have been levied my way. To be honest, if you're a creator who apologizes for foolishly spending years pumping out videos filled with disingenuous far-right talking points, ultimately serving as a tool for the alt-right pipeline, and you just leave those videos up, I'm just going to assume you don't mean it. Well, that's a pretty good assumption to make, because...
From fucking Jack Saint of all people.
Because, I never said I'm sorry. I never once apologized in that entire stream. You see, acknowledging that you've made mistakes in the past and working to change those actions so that you make fewer mistakes, that's not an apology. I know you want an apology, like really desperately. I know you get off the thought of people groveling at your feet, but No, I didn't apologize. Instead, I just decided to better myself and not rely on fucking useless apologies and just flowery words. I can remember literally every single apology that I've genuinely given since 2010 because I give them out so rarely, because I like to be the kind of person that when you get an apology from me, you know I mean it. And I know this is like an old topic, but I never actually got around to throwing my hat in the ring. I'm not gonna take my hat off because my hair looks fucking terrible. But I really hate,
said the white man,
genuinely loathe this pipeline conversation because it's full of so many arbitrary stops and random conveniences. It just infuriates me.
Yes, exactly. And that's why people stop using those arguments, because all the pipes that they use for the content all lead to the same place.
Your mild political satire was misappropriated by the alt-right and used to draw more people into the alt-right. I know because I know several people who have told me that this happened to them. Well, that's wonderful. That's great. I've also received hundreds of messages from people saying that people like me, Shoe on Head, and Armored Skeptic were the people that kept them from falling deeper in to the rabbit hole. So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to apologize for content that potentially helped plenty of people as well? And even beyond that, the whole pipeline thing is just a game of like who's responsible hot potato. It's annoying.
This blew my socks off hearing him be so unapologetic and literally taking the opposite approach than iDubbbz, thinking just bettering himself is sufficient while leaving up his bigoted content, including the videos harassing Francesca Ramsey. His views of apologies is so toxic, the machismo to the max. I don't throw around the word narcissistic lightly ever, especially as someone who dated a genuine narcissist, but this gives parallels to what I identified with my past abusive relationship. I'm shocked he had the nerve to—
And now you're relating a YouTuber to your personal sex life. Okay. Let's hear it!
confidently record this, but it doesn't stop here. The audacity to boldly dismiss the alt-right pipeline because it's annoying to him, since he was literally the gateway content creator. The fact that it's common knowledge, yet Chris Ray-Gun and Head are the only ones denying it. Not a lick of accountability, and clearly no growth. The idea that his bold racist content was used against black and queer people is annoying to him, while us marginalized people had to live with the consequences of his content. He was literally rooting for Trump to win, but wants to pretend like he didn't aid in the alt-right pipeline. We're definitely dealing with a genius here. When the bar was already low for iDubbbz, here comes Chris Ray-Gun bringing it to hell. Yet, it doesn't even end here. iDubbbz apologizing pushed a needed discourse, one that Head and Chris Ray-Gun ignorantly participated in. But before that, we must watch this TikTok.
Anti-social justice warrior era is what made the alt-right pipeline mainstream, and I will not elaborate.
I'm Francesca.
Excuse me, what was that fucking lie?
Participated in. But before that, we must watch this TikTok.
Anti-social justice warrior era is what made the alt-right pipeline mainstream, and I will not elaborate.
I'm Francesca. I created a show for MTV called Decoded in 2015. It was all about race, pop culture, and identity. 8 seasons, over 90 episodes, and that entire time I was harassed by anti-social justice warriors on...
Being criticized by people who have channels of their own is not being harassed. Also, 90 episode limit. Oh, for the year she did it. She literally got the effective amount of work done in a time frame where Anita with money could not achieve the other. Keep in mind that literally means Francesca Ramsey has a better work ethic than Anita Sarkeesian, but I digress.
YouTube. So they would make these videos debunking my content, calling me names, sometimes using racial slurs, saying that I should unalive myself, that I should be SA'd, that I hate white people, that I hate men. They would talk about my now ex-husband, but it was all under the guise of comedy. And the thinking was that they were purporting that marginalized people are lying about our experiences, we're lying about our history, we are making a big deal out of things that don't matter, and we're creating words out of thin air, which hello, that's where words come from. Someone has to make them up. And because these videos would target people that were extremely online and in need of a community, they were able to dupe people into consuming hours worth of content that had no research or fact-based evidence at all. They were pure opinion. And as we've seen with the pandemic...
Well, it is not what you're saying, pure opinion, unless you can actually find a way to back it up.
A lot of people don't understand the difference between opinions and facts. And when someone makes a 40-minute video debunking a 5-minute episode of MTV Decoded...
Long man detected!
Filled with lies and misinformation and straw man arguments, it's impossible to debunk it yourself without getting sucked into a hole of, like, wasting your time and energy.
It's too long for us to deal with. It's too much work to be able to criticize and fight back against people. This is the arguments being made by Soulbunni. Don't try and put in effort. People are just going to shit on you no matter what. Bold. Fucking bold.
I will never forget a guy made a whole music video that was animated starring a character that looked suspiciously like me. I used to have locks, and so this was a black girl with locks, and it was all about how triggered she was and how upset she was, and essentially like creating this narrative that people who advocate for social justice are actually the ones oppressing white people, oppressing men, oppressing straight people. I mean, this guy spent money.
I mean, have you not?
To have a video produced. He went into the studio. I mean, it was well done. Like, these people were making a living off of talking about me and spreading lies and essentially creating fascism-like content. So these people were essentially primed to consume alt-right content because they were being essentially fed it through comedy videos from their favorite creators.
Well said from the source herself. She's right about it being a waste of time going back and forth with their content that had no research or genuine attempt of entertaining.
So you say. But if it entertained people, then people wouldn't be watching it. If they weren't entertained. Cope.
It reminds me of a Toni Morrison quote. The function, the very serious function of racism is distraction. It keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reason for being. Somebody says you have no language, and you spend 20 years proving you do. Somebody says your head isn't shaped properly, so you have scientists working on the fact that it is. Somebody says you have no art, so you dredge that up. Someone says you have no kingdoms, so you dredge that up. None of this is necessary. There will always be one more thing. I wanted to laser in on the summer of last year. Thankfully, I've saved many screenshots to put everything together chronologically. This took a lot of psychic damage to relive this moment, since I was targeted when I spoke up. Like I said earlier, IDA's apologizing opened up a discourse on old wounds. It made many of us reflect on how we were impacted and what creators came to mind that participated in the BS. An ex-Shoe on Head fan spoke up, which went viral since Shoe and Chris Ray Gun quote tweeted, dismissing them and invalidating the fact that their content indoctrinated young viewers and created self-hate in some viewers. The mental gymnastics were extreme that I couldn't help myself but to chime in, since I was an ex-viewer, as well who had to undo the damage done to me mentally. This led Chris Ray Gun to argue in my comments, downplaying his negative impact. Francesca at the time was going viral as she learned about the IDubbbz apology and called out those who harassed her like Chris Ray Gun. She laid out all the receipts and pointed out the animation that was based on her that got millions of views. This video you're about to see by Francesca made me and others emotional as she candidly speaks her mind in pain. A lot transpires after this, so listen closely to what is said.
I didn't intend on making a video about this, but I'm so angry that I just have to say something and just get it out and let it go. So recently there's been a wave of people who've made bigoted content on the internet coming forward and apologizing. TikTok, we've got Kelly Cagdon. On YouTube, we have iDubbbz, I think is how you say his name. And in years past, we've had Shane Dawson. And all of these people I have different relationships with. So I hosted a show for MTV called MTV Decoded. I actually created the show. I wrote on the show. I hired tons of incredible people and made a lot of great content that I am very proud of. But at the time that the show was on, I dealt with a lot of harassment because of it from these people that labeled themselves anti-social justice warriors, anti-feminists on YouTube, including iDubbbz. And he made a number of videos where he used the N-word fully uncensored, where he put my face in videos and called me, and said that my work was cancer,
because it is,
and my work made him want most of these videos,
because it did,
have been privated, so I can't show them to you,
but you can unprivate them and you show everybody.
But I've seen them, and he created a culture and a fan base that then harassed me. So did Shane Dawson, right? Doing blackface, saying the N-word, none of that stuff exists in a vacuum. Callie Cagdon using her platform to demonize other trans people, demonize queer people, say that black people you know, enjoyed being slaves. Like, all of this contributes to a culture of harassment, and the target being Black people and queer people and women on the internet, including myself. And when these people suddenly have a change of heart, we're just supposed to accept their apology and move on.
Yes, because that'd be being healthy. You can choose to be petty, but that's on you.
And sorry, I can't. I can't move on, and I can't accept an apology when an apology is the least you can do. These people have made millions of dollars off of their hateful content. Millions of dollars off of my face and my name. People will put my full government name in the caption, in the metadata, in the description box, on screen, my face, my headshot. There are people that have put my name on their IMDb to say that I've been in their videos harassing me. Okay, people have built entire careers off of hateful, bigoted content. And now they have a change of heart, and we're all just supposed to accept it and move on. I'm sorry. Like, you cannot make a living off of my harassment and then assume that a sorry is enough. It's just really not. And then some of these people haven't said sorry at all, which again, bars in hell. They just have like pivoted. They just suddenly started making content that's like a little less racist, a little less sexist, a little less.
A little less. It's racist light. I can hardly believe it's bigotry.
Homophobic. And if you bring up to them the shit that they've said in the past, I'm talking about you, Chris Ray Gun, or whatever you call yourself, then we're just supposed to pretend it didn't happen. We're supposed to pretend that you didn't use my face and my name and say,
well, no, nobody's saying that they are gonna pretend like it didn't happen. It's, you hold them accountable, because if criticism and harassment is wrong, you are criticizing them right now. And I don't think the professional racism insect combo is a real thing you can accuse them of, but it ain't gonna stop you from doing it. Meanwhile, how many skits did you make about white people? Exactly, Bloodia. How many skits did you make about white people? How many wigs did you put on your bald head? Yeah.
suggest that I was a grifter and that I hate all white people and I think all men should die, you know, and you didn't suggest to your audience that it was okay to treat me that way, right? We're just gonna pretend that that didn't happen. I remember one time I was walking through the airport. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on my way to a speaking gig at a college in I don't remember where. And this white kid comes up to me, and I would get recognized all the time. So it wasn't unusual for people to like see me and say hi. And so this white kid comes up to me in the airport and he's like, oh my God, you're Francesca Ramsey. And I'm like, yeah, hi, whatever. I'm like tired. And I'm just like, hey. And he's like, do you know who iDubbbz is? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I love iDubbbz's videos about you. And I was terrified in that moment.
Again, posting your L's publicly. You're terrified of a white pasty kid because you're scared that you're gonna literally die in the streets like a wild and rabid dog chewing at the fruit of a strange tree.
Because I was realizing I'm face to face with someone that is a fan of someone that has made content about how much they hate me and what a terrible person I am and how I'm oppressing white people and how I'm oppressing men. So honestly, save me the fucking sorry. Save me the sorry. What about the money that you've made off of this hateful content? What about the...
They tried to censor hateful. Bullshit.
Culture that you have influenced where queer people, trans people, black people, women don't feel fucking safe in this country because they know they're interacting with your fucking fans. What about that? Like, what's the compensation for that? Like, honestly.
The black people. The white man that you were fucking. The money that you got from being a professional victim. The fact that you could even become relevant again after you had already lost your channel. And by that I mean your MTV deal. All those things that you're using as attack vectors. All that. That was the compensation.
I would like to know. I really, like, y'all let me know when you figure that out. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And throughout my career, despite, like, not cursing and having a smile and being respectable, I'm always painted as the angry black woman. Always. I'm always untalented. I'm always a harpy. I'm always, you know, making something out of nothing. Always. And now, well, I'm sorry is just supposed to wash it all away. Well, this is...
Well, you made that video, so yes, you are. And so is Soulbunni. Also, this is a lot of fucking clips, Soulbunni. And they're not broken up in a way for fair use. Yeah!
This is a response.
Sure would be a shame if something bad were to happen.
Over the course of my decade-plus career, Chris, Shane, iDubbbz, I don't even know what his fucking real name is. Apology not accepted. Will never be accepted. I am not looking to reform, be buddies with racists or bigots.
They didn't ask you to do that. So why are you offering?
I don't care what leaves you've turned over. It's not enough for me. It will never be enough for me. Stop asking me to forgive these people. I'm never gonna do it.
A lot of what she said, I have throughout this video essay, so there's not too much I can add. Notice how she called out Chris Ray Gun by name? How the bar is in hell since he refuses to apologize at all. You think after getting that real, that Chewinhead and Chris Ray Gun would reflect or even give the bare minimum apology, that their humanity would finally show up, but nope, they triple down. It's frustrating to read these tweets and see them further attack her. He even goes as far to deny the animation isn't even of her. The animator popped up in the comments to try to support Chris Ray Gun's claim, but I'll debunk that lie shortly, after we watch Chris's attempt to gaslight us in this Cope livestream.
There's nearly only 2 minutes left. Let's see how many more lies you can tell, I guess. Lies, half-truths, and misogynies.
I don't think I said anything particularly hostile today. I was a little snarky for sure. It's a really cool fan fiction you got there. And it's a little snarky, but like, I mean, like, it's just, I don't know what to tell you, dude. The accusation is so...
Put that on the screen.
Particularly hostile today. I was a little snarky for sure. It's a really cool fan fiction you got there. And
Your fan fiction is pretty neat. But this is fear projection in a way that's honestly wild to see. The cartoon character is not you and never has been. The tweet reference in the video is also not accurate. Wild to see you still so confidently wrong.
It's a little snarky, but like, I mean, like, it's just, I don't know what to tell you, dude. The accusation is so narcissistic and absorbed. Like, that's me. She was like, who else has a show and is black and has locks? And it's like, the girl in the cartoon doesn't have a show because that's not you.
Yeah, which
and
is...
it's so... She goes like, because she goes like, that character like whines about, like, that character in the video like promotes a Patreon after getting Chris fired. I never did that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you didn't.
Because it's not
Because
you.
it's not you.
It bugs me to see him have the nerve to call her narcissistic, given all...
You're narcissistic. All of you are narcissistic.
All the signifiers he gave her. Me being an art major knew this didn't add up, so I tweeted at the artist, since it...
Me being an art major means that I know that he must be lying. I'm on the double. Wait. Courage. The cowardly dog. Chase. Music. Or is it the crisis theme? Be the crisis theme. Soulbunni's on the case, guys! Don't you worry! The alt-black girl's spirit magic. It's on its way. She's on the case to figure out whether or not he's capping.
It just didn't add up, especially when this is from an era where black people were made fun of for asking for representation, where none was found. The math wasn't mathing, so I directly...
I mean, y'all get mocked for asking for representation now, because you guys ask in the most fucking stupid, backwards way possible. with backhanded compliments.
Asked where the inspiration came from. He said the quiet part out loud. What a hilarious impersonation of a racist idiot. There you have it. From the artist himself. Let a bigot talk, and they'll tell on themselves when pressed with the right questions. Chris Ray.
It's not possible that, you know, the artist in question that supposedly helped make it might just be lying to get your sympathy and do updoots because they need to get some commissions off you so they can pay their power lights. Please end the video, Soulbunni.
Gun and the animator tried hiding behind the technicality of it not technically being her. It's a game of semantics. As this all started to come to a wrapping point.
It's probably not her then, because, you know, her having locks is just one of many hairstyles that black people can have. She doesn't own locks. Just like she also doesn't own being bald-headed.
I dropped one last tweet that got the devil themselves responding. It's so rich reading the comments coming from him. So Chris Raygun, this is me playing ball a year later.
A year later, when you've been blocked by the people you keep trying to fuck with. Because if harassment is criticism, and criticism is harassment, you attempting to criticize him here for something a year later isn't just you being fucking upset and mad and roiling pissed. It's you having your piss boiled for a year on end, saying, "Hey, I'm still upset. Come piss me off some more." Cap.
Started to come to a wrapping point. I dropped one last tweet that got the devil themselves responding. It's so rich reading the.
You guys really can't conceptualize anything more complicated than a binary first-graded ass worldview, huh? Alright, let's play ball. You're in an echo chamber defending your bigoted content against anti-racist rhetoric that today is common sense leftism. You can't even admit that, but hey, you stick to digging your heels in. Don't play ball with me unless you want to get laid out with facts and logic. Why did we let Ben Shapiro have that statement? Why are you using that? Shut that shit up! Fucking third-hand embarrassment. Not even second-hand embarrassment. Third-hand embarrassment. It passed from my ears to my body, and then I hit myself in disappointment.
The comments coming from him. So Chris Raygun, this is me playing ball a year later. I apologize for everyone that got psychic damage for watching this video till the end. People weren't critical enough or didn't cover the needed angles for iDubbbz, and I couldn't find a video on Chris Raygun. Two perfect examples why quickly giving forgiveness to bigots who haven't done the work isn't a good idea. I've come to terms with whatever might come my way for making this video. What
Does that also include you? That's right.
matters more to me is that Black, brown, disabled, and queer people feel seen. I also wanted to put some respect on our girl Francesca's name. She's owed so many apologies and more. I lastly want to mention that I'm having a fundraiser live stream Friday 12 p.m. PST/3 p.m. EST. I've been off my HRT for 3 months, which greatly undone almost all my progress I made in a year. So if you want to help out and learn more, attend Friday.
Help me pay for my medicine. Help me become a real woman. I shouldn't mock that. I shouldn't mock that. However, why are you begging people to pay for your recreational fucking medicine? Do you have dysphoria, Snowbunny? Snowbunny. Why are you asking people to pay for your HRTs, Soulbunny? Are you not making enough money criticizing the white leftists that have changed up and gone corporate? In for Jeremy Dollar Journal Wanker.
With me, Turb, and other creators that will be present. Thank you.
Sad. Fucking sad. Abysmal and sad. Fucking abysmal and sad. If she meant feelings and lies, I agree, and I wouldn't call it punching down. My pose knocked out the stream. Dead ass? Fuck. Oh my fucking god. What cope? This is man getting officiate and get past my barriers. I didn't give them the stamp of approval to be free of their racism. So you're not free of your racism. You're already suffering. They're getting full. Well, I don't know actually. Chris Raven's probably getting out scot-free because everybody's focused on iDubbbz. Oh boy, you don't like them, so it's their apologies aren't to be accepted by you because you are the CCO of black people, and I am the CFO, digging out the ATLO, LIO, Holio. Regardless, whatever, ho, whatever, fucking whatever. Corn 2 and cornbread 2 were a mistake. Fried cornbread. Fried cornbread was a mistake. Fried cornbread was a fucking mistake. What is last on the docket? Where's my thing? I can't find my thing. Where's my thing? Here's my thing. Ah, yes. The last thing in the question that we could probably talk about for a bit, because I can feel my brain fucking burning it live. There's a video somebody suggested to me off of Twitter as something we would need for a moratorium discussion. Oh. Yeah. Rest. But recently on the stream we played Dustborn, and somebody from my Twitter suggested to me a video for us to watch. I do not feel comfortable just aping this video's content outright 100%. But I will post what it was. Where is it? Where is it? Right here.
I consider my...
It is a hour and average 10-minute video by somebody called Rowby. The Dustborn deep dive you didn't ask for. If I have time for it this week, and I should, probably look at it. It's not Thursday or Friday, maybe Saturday. But I do not feel comfortable aping it right now. I also don't feel comfortable, period. I'm having a very weird sense of vertigo. But then again, I did drink alcohol, and apparently I did not have enough food in my stomach. So it's just making me a little bit loopy. Not drunk, just fucking loopy and sleepy. So, I'm going to suggest to you to look at this person's video. But to speak on the moratorium of Dustborn, we've talked ad nauseum. Well, actually, no, we haven't. I've mentioned it, but we didn't actually sit down and talk about it. In context to this person's video, which we will not have time for, simply because reasons, put it right here. Picture, as I'm waiting for the thing to come to the door and be delivered. This particular video, where is it? What the fuck? Show the picture-in-picture. There you go. This person's particular video is probably going to mirror a couple of things that I can say about Dustborn. And to that edge, as I wait for this, did they deliver this to my door without calling me? They better have not. No, they're still on their way heading to me. Okay. What can I say about Dustborn in its entirety? A lot of the things inside of Dustborn have been wasted. A lot of the potential. It's not worth your $30. I can tell you that much. It's honestly not even worth the time it would take you to find the particular Chaos Team pack repack to illegally download it, to experience it. It is a cash grab, even with the potential plot in the game and the voice acting included inside of that. All of the people and all the shit they had to deal with in question, every single last one of it, the perpetuality of their content, of the character, writing, story, the memes, gameplay, the mechanics of gameplay, music. It's wasted on this product and project. The talents, all of it. Because it all comes from a broken basis and a foundation. Ultimately, Dustborn is what leftists want to assume their art looks like. Granted, there's been a lot of games that have tried to be like Dustborn. There are some games that are upcoming that are going to be like Dustborn. But ultimately, Dustborn is a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of fucking time. The jokes that we had at expense was really at the expense of characters and mostly there for shock value. We laughed at the fact that Sai got blasted by a shotgun. But how long did that last? And we were right back to monotony. The shock value of the things that are unironically funny are made more funny from the things that you can find hilarious in it. I cease to remind you, an actual bombastic Africa Bambata bamboodling empty signifier literally shits himself to death. That is the funniest thing in the game to me. Okay? It is the funniest thing in perpetuity. Everything else doesn't matter. The story itself doesn't even fucking work really, if you really think about it, because it would have to work in medias res as an example of how she got out the country, instead of the way that it chooses to use it as like they're going through the experience at the same time, which is bullshit. Be it as it may. Save your money. Save your money. If you're going to take time doing it, I would say watch each and every installment of us looking at all the chapters of the game. You will have more fun watching my antics, and maybe even the assorted antics of other people who played it, than trying to see it. Because even if you were to get it for free and to pirate it, it's not worth the fucking 9 gigabytes. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Anywho, we'll probably look at that video another time. And to deal with my sense of vertigo, I'm going to lay down after I do a thing. That should be my food. I will see you on the Moratorium chat. Ugh. Ouch my hands, ouch my balls, ouch my backs. The door for something that I bought. Alright, chat. I will see you later on in the day. We'll see. Fucking Christ, my spine. I'm itchy! Spine is all itchy.